everyone. My name is Madison Lutzy, and I'm going to be presenting to you today about the history of the iconic fashion brand that is Balenciaga. On the agenda for this presentation, we have the introduction, a timeline of the brand's history featuring iconic garments and visual aesthetics, followed by Balenciaga's target customers, and concluding with retail formats. Our story starts with the man behind it all, Cristobal Balenciaga. Born Cristobal Balenciaga Azuaguirre, the designer was born in a humble fishing village named Gaetaria in the Basque region of Spain. He was born over 125 years ago on January 21st, 1895. He spent his early years working alongside and learning from his mother Martina. She worked as a seamstress to support her family of three children as a single mother after Balenciaga's father's early death. Balenciaga's mother Martina was a seamstress for the Marquesas of Casa Torres, one of the community's foremost noblewomen. It was her that sent young Cristobal to Madrid, Spain, where he was formally trained in tailoring. He learned skills that would help shape the designer that he came to be. In 1919, he opened his first boutique in San Sebastian, Spain. The boutique gained great success and later spawned new locations in Madrid and Barcelona. Pictured to the right is the first known design by Balenciaga. The two-piece suit and skirt dates back to the year 1912, meaning Balenciaga was only 17 years old when he designed it. Balenciaga's early designs were very popular and highly coveted. His designs were worn by members of the Spanish royal family and members of the aristocracy. In 1933, bride Carmen Alustiza went to Balenciaga's boutique. She was looking for a less conventional wedding dress for the time period. To achieve her desired vision, Balenciaga called upon the modern fashion trends seen in magazines of the era. In this design, we can see that Balenciaga opted for a high-cut empire waist, something he often utilized in his designs over time, helping people recognize that they were his own. In 1927, he introduced this Japanese-inspired kimono coat. Balenciaga designed various coats and jackets throughout his career with similar defining lines of the Japanese kimono. Although his Spanish boutiques were extremely successful, in the year 1937, unfortunately Balenciaga was forced to close his boutiques, where it all started, and relocating to Paris, France, due to the Spanish Civil War. With 20 years of experience upon arrival, he immediately formed aesthetic influences and created the brand's unique client experiences. By 1939, Balenciaga was being recognized as a fashion revolutionary around the world and even had clients who were willing to risk traveling to Europe during World War II to purchase his garments. Balenciaga, post-war, offered an alternative to Christian Dior's new look. In contrast to Dior's nipped-in waistline silhouette, Balenciaga offered an empire-line silhouette instead. It's been known that Christian Dior has said that Balenciaga is the greatest of them all. Throughout the 1950s and into the 60s, Balenciaga began to continuously introduce his key design elements. These included things such as the bubble or balloon hemline, the sack dress, and the cocoon coat. All of these silhouettes are still used today by various designers, inspired by Balenciaga's work. During Balenciaga's career, he mentored various designers such as Emmanuel Ungaro, Oscar de la Renta, and Hubert de Givenchy. Although Balenciaga began designing for people who were of high status in his community, royalty were not the only people who coveted his designs. Famous celebrities of the time period loved Balenciaga as well. In the photo on the left, Audrey Hepburn is photographed wearing a beautiful cape by Balenciaga for a 1957 issue of Cosmopolitan magazine. Pictured in the middle is Spanish socialite Queen Fabiola wearing one of Balenciaga's famous creations on the day of her wedding. Her mother was the noblewoman who sent Balenciaga to Madrid to study design. In the final photo is Elizabeth Taylor in 1967 wearing a sari dress designed by Balenciaga. Balenciaga's garments were sought after by everyone. Even Jackie Kennedy famously argued with President Kennedy over her Balenciaga habit. Balenciaga continually released new collections up until the sudden closure of his fashion house in May 1968. One of his most faithful clients, Mona Bismarck, refused to leave her house for 3 days upon hearing the news, unable to imagine life without his garments. Balenciaga came out of retirement one last time to create what would be his last work, a wedding gown for Spanish aristocrat Maria del Carmen Martínez Bordeaux in 1972. The wedding gown was adorned with more than 10,000 pearls and was created using 20 spools of silver thread. It is alleged that Balenciaga completely remade the gown only 2 days prior to the wedding because he wasn't satisfied with the fit. He was known as a true perfectionist. 2 weeks later, Unfortunately, the beloved Cristobal Balenciaga, fashion icon and revolutionary, passed away at home in his beloved home country of Spain. After the passing of Cristobal Balenciaga, the house was silent until 1986, when the rights to the Balenciaga name were purchased by a company called Jacques Bogart. Michael Goma, the new head designer of the house, only served for 5 years until Belgian designer Josephus Thimister replaced him. Thimister helped restore the house back into high-status couture. In 1997, Nicolas Gosquiche was appointed as the new head designer of the house. In 2001, the Balenciaga house was acquired by a company named Kering that owns the house still to this day. Gosquiche's designs were well received by the masses. Pictured to the left, the designs were said to have helped bounce the history of the house back into relevance during his time as head designer. He remained head designer up until 2012. After Gosquiche stepped down, famous designer Alexander Wang was appointed as head designer of the Balenciaga house. At Wang's debut Balenciaga show, he expressed his vision of going back to the roots of the house so that he could identify the codes and translate them into a fully functioning wardrobe. His debut collection featured homage to Cristobal Balenciaga's notorious sculptural quality and monolithic aesthetics. Much like Gosquiche, Wang made sure to keep Balenciaga's design techniques in mind while also adding his own touches. Wang served the house until 2015, his last runway collection being the spring 2016 ready-to-wear during Paris Fashion Week. After Wang's contract was not renewed with Balenciaga, a Russian designer named Demna Vasalia is appointed as creative director of the house. He debuted his first collection for Balenciaga for the fall 2016 ready-to-wear runway show. Pictured to the left, his designs were clearly inspired by Cristobal Balenciaga's tailoring methods and ways of working with the body. Vasalia's designs were well received by the crowds, and he was awarded the International Designer of the Year award at the 2017 CDFA's Fashion Awards. In the past 5 years, Vasalia has continued to excite crowds with his beautiful Balenciaga collections. While the designs are of course unique, many of them still showcase the Cristobal Balenciaga influence. January of 2020, Vasalia announced the reintroduction of haute couture into Balenciaga. He expressed the desire to bring Balenciaga to its sources of origin and to create an unexplored mode of creative freedom and a platform for innovation. This is extremely fitting because Balenciaga was always known for being a revolution in the fashion industry. With full menswear, womenswear, accessory, and shoe collections, Balenciaga's target market is quite large. Cristobal Balenciaga started off creating women's clothing, designing garments for royalty and celebrities alike. Present-day celebrities, both men and women, can be seen dressed in Balenciaga, ranging from streetwear to formal wear to accessories. Balenciaga is not only for the super rich and famous. The brand now connects to people of younger generations who seek to purchase unique pieces to make a statement through fashion. Balenciaga has diversified their brand to feature high-fashion streetwear that includes high-end sneakers, hoodies, and bold logo prints. Although the brand did not completely follow Cristobal's vision, it still reflects modernity and maximalism, while also becoming more diverse and accessible to crowds. Today, a Balenciaga storefront can always easily be spotted with the classic black and white logo with the name of the fashion house in a large font. Ryan Corbin, an interior designer who has worked with various designers including the House of Balenciaga, has created a modern and contemporary version to the original storefronts. He describes his work as fresh and luxury redefined. Balenciaga indoor retail formats are minimalistic and extremely clean. Marble, white, black, and silver are the main design schemes inside of the stores and are often utilized in the designs as well. Some interior designers, such as Ryan Corbin and Joseph Dyrand, have been known to honor Balenciaga's love for a monolith aesthetic by placing actual monoliths inside of retail locations. This concludes my presentation on Cristobal Balenciaga and the legacy that he created. Thank you for listening.